You know, there's a hidden world inside your body, an entire microscopic city. And right now, there's an epic battle raging. It happens every single second. So let's dive right into this incredible defense force, your immune system. Seriously, right now, as you're listening to me, your body is at war. It's fighting off invaders constantly. It's this invisible battle, and the stakes, well, they couldn't be higher. We're going to pull back the curtain on this whole thing. Okay, so who exactly are the bad guys in this war? Well, they're literally everywhere. On every surface you touch, in the air you're breathing, these are the pathogens. Just look at this gallery of microscopic invaders. It gives you a real sense of the sheer variety of threats we're up against, right? We're talking everything from bacteria that can give you food poisoning, all the way to viruses, like the one that causes chickenpox. It's basically a rogues gallery of tiny organisms, and their one and only goal? To set up shop inside you and make you sick. Now, I know that sounds a little scary, but don't worry, your body's anything but helpless. In fact, it's evolved one of the most sophisticated, most elite defense forces in the entire universe. So, let's meet the good guys. The first thing you need to get is that the immune system isn't just one thing. It's a defense system with multiple layers. It all starts with your physical barriers. You know, your skin, the mucous membranes in your nose and throat. Just think of them like the giant outer walls of a castle. They're the first line of defense, keeping invaders out. But what happens if a pathogen gets past those walls? Well, that's when a two-pronged attack kicks in. First up, you've got the innate system. These guys are your first responders. They're fast, they're always on patrol, and if they see something that doesn't belong, they just attack. Boom. Simple as that. But then you have the adaptive system. Think of these as the special ops. They're a bit slower to get going, but they are incredibly precise. They create custom-made weapons for one specific enemy. And here's the really cool part. They remember that enemy. So if it ever dares to show up again, the response is way faster and way stronger. And these are the elite soldiers of that special ops team. You've got your B cells, they're like mobile weapons factories, just pumping out these powerful proteins called antibodies to neutralize invaders. Then you have the T cells, a whole special forces unit with different jobs. The helper T cells, they're the field generals, coordinating the entire attack. The killer T cells, they are the frontline assassins, taking out your own body cells that have been infected. And finally, the suppressor T cells. They're the peacekeepers who come in at the end and call off the attack when the job is done. So what does it actually look like when all these forces get mobilized for battle? All right, let's walk through a full-scale immune response, step by step. Okay, so when your body spots an invader, the whole battle plays out in four main phases. First, recognition, sounding the alarm. Second, proliferation, building the army. Third, elimination, the big attack. And last, slowdown, when the mission is over and the troops go home. This visual really lays it all out for us. You can see it right there. A virus has gotten in. And now we're going to see how the body's forces mobilize to fight back. Let's break down exactly what's happening here, phase by phase. All right, it all kicks off with phase one, recognition. You've got these scout cells, they're called dendritic cells, and their job is to find the invading virus. They actually consume it, and then they take a piece of it, the antigen, and wear it on their surface like a captured enemy flag. Then they take that flag and show it to the generals of the army, the helper T cells. And that's the signal for phase two, proliferation. The helper T cells go nuts. They sound the alarm, they start multiplying like crazy, and they start barking out orders. They activate the killer T cells and the B cells, and just like that, you're building a massive, specialized army designed to fight this one specific virus. And now for the main event, phase 3, elimination. This is the all-out attack. The killer T cells are on a search and destroy mission for any of your own cells that have been compromised by the virus. At the same time, the B cells have turned into plasma cells, and they're unleashing a flood of antibodies that swarm and neutralize any viruses that are just floating around. And finally, once the coast is clear, it's time for phase 4, slow down. The suppressor T cells give the all-clear signal, telling everyone to stand down. But, and this is so important, some of those T and B cells stick around. They become memory cells. They now hold a permanent grudge against this particular virus, and they are ready and waiting to unleash an even faster, even stronger attack if it ever comes back. I mean, this natural defense system is just incredible, right? But we've also figured out some really clever ways to help it along. We can actually give our immune system a serious helping hand. one of the most powerful things we can do is just stop the pathogens from ever getting to us in the first place. You do that by breaking any link in this chain of infection. Think about it. Washing your hands? You just broke the means of transmission link. Covering your mouth when you cough? You just blocked the portal of exit. Every single one of these small actions can stop a pathogen's journey. It's such a simple but powerful idea. And this brings us to one of our most powerful tools of all, immunization. A vaccine is basically like giving your immune system a most wanted poster for a specific enemy. It shows your cells what the bad guy looks like, that flag or antigen, without you actually having to fight the real battle and get sick. This lets your body build up its army of memory cells ahead of time, so it's ready for the real thing. And the impact of this? It's just staggering. Over the last century, vaccines have played a huge part in increasing the average American lifespan by, get this, 30 years. 30! That's an entire generation of life that's been added, all thanks to our ability to prime our immune systems. But, this system is powerful, but it's not perfect. So what happens when it makes a mistake? Or when it comes up against a really, really tricky enemy? Well, sometimes our defenses can go wrong. A perfect example? Allergies. This is basically a classic case of mistaken identity. Your immune system sees something totally harmless, like pollen, and thinks it's a dangerous invader, so it launches a full-scale attack. And that's what causes all those miserable allergy symptoms. And it's not just about mistakes like allergies. Our immune systems also face huge challenges from some really tough pathogens. A big category here are the ones that cause sexually transmitted infections, or STIs. These pathogens, we're talking bacteria like chlamydia and viruses like HPV and HIV, they spread through sexual contact, and they've evolved to be very good at challenging our body's defenses, and that makes them a major public health threat. Now, the human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, is an especially tough enemy. And here's why it's so dangerous. It doesn't just attack any old body cell. It goes straight for the generals. It specifically targets and destroys the helper T cells, the very coordinators of our immune response. It's a devastatingly smart tactic. This chart right here breaks down the main ways new HIV infections happened in the US back in 2021, giving us a really clear picture of how this virus gets around. Okay, so learning about all this is fascinating, right? But here's the best part. You are not just a bystander in this story. You can be an active participant. You can literally become an ally to your own immune system. And you know what? It's actually pretty straightforward. The key thing to remember is that simple, practical steps can make a world of difference. Getting enough sleep, that gives your body the downtime it needs to build up its immune cells. Washing your hands frequently, that stops transmission in its tracks. Keeping your vaccinations up to date, that prepares your army for known threats. Every single one of these things directly supports and strengthens your body's amazing natural defenses. Look, your immune system is your tireless, lifelong bodyguard. It is on duty 24/7, protecting you from things you never even see. It never rests. So the only real question left is, what are you going to do to support it?